Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Bitcoin has continued to dump. Let's check out the biggest gainers and losers in the altcoin space. It's going to be some sort of top 10, top 20 altcoins, but we're going to be focusing on the charts. The news hasn't got us anywhere at this point. We're going to be looking at these charts because this is the forerunner. These are the things that are going to show us what is happening next, and the news will lead. Why we look at the news before we get into it is to give us an idea of the fundamentals of the projects long term. It's not going to help in the short term because it's very reactionary when it comes to the news. That's why we're very focused on the charts. And of course, the news does fill in some of the gaps if you want to know why later. For example, before we get into the video, Bitcoin. Bitcoin we saw last week on Sunday. We posted a video on the channel looking at it starting to crash or at least fall for a few days. And that was the potential catalyst of the market to continue coming down. There were some signs in that video. Later, which we found out over the last 24, 48 hours about President Biden's tax on capital gains, potentially doubling that, almost doubling that for capital gains over about $1 million. There's a few more finer details to it, but we're not going to get into it in the beginning. The point is that the charts are going to help us understand what's going on. Then the news can fill in the gaps as to why. So without further ado, subscribe to the channel, bell notification icon, like the video up if you find some value from it. Make sure you're beating the scammers to the video in the comments section. Get your comments going on down there. I'll say hello within the first few minutes, covering your comments, questions down there. All right, now we said that, let's dive into the video. All right, funds are safer. We have a $1.8 trillion market cap, Bitcoin at 937 billion, and ETH holding its ground and climbing and gaining on the Bitcoin value. You can see up here, dominance. Bitcoin is at 50.6%, Ethereum at 14.3%. So it is really starting to gain some traction on Bitcoin, especially, obviously, in the market caps. Now, we've looked at Cardano on the channel today. This will probably be my third video on the channel, and I've got another couple coming out tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Dogecoin, 31 billion, 29 billion, 16 billion for Uniswap, one of my favorites out of these, and Chainlink at 14 billion. So I think that's a pretty good buy, especially moving forward. Obviously, dollar cost averaging into these projects. Solana, unbelievable. 16th position, 9 billion now. I saw this 20 bucks, and obviously, you know, when it was $3, it would have been a fantastic buy. But I didn't understand the potential of Solana. Now, I posted this on Twitter, so make sure you're over there following my Twitter account. There's some great research over there. You can read through the posts, not from me, but from guys a lot smarter than me that are putting tens, hundreds of hours into researching these projects to understand them and how they integrate with the overall ecosystem of cryptocurrency. In particular, this one, Solana, alongside with Ethereum. It's not going to be one or the other. At least that's what I got from the video. This is an altcoin video. I want to give a major update. Like the title say, it's all for the SEO, top 10s, 20s, whatever the hell's going on. You get the idea, but we want to get an update here of what we're going to do, or at least the feeling of the overall market, like where we're positioned. So let me look at crypto fear and greed index, 37. It is well and truly down there. This has probably been one of the lowest points that we have seen. Let's put 3 months on here because that would bring us back to mid-January. And yeah, 38 was 1st of March when we had that other crash, multiple crashes on the way up. And today, 24th of April, we're at 37. So historically, yeah, we want to be in that 60, 70 level as a nice consolidation. The fear is probably some great buy zones. However, if you go back and check out the video I've got a couple of days ago, a couple of videos today, previously, I was looking at Bitcoin as a potential intermediate top, and I've got the reasons in that video, so I won't go through it here. Across to SwiftX, because this is our portfolio, I'm just giving you guys an update of the portfolio. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cryptos. I wanted to consolidate. Now, the mistake here, which I've talked about in the previous video, but if you're just joining in for the first time, selling Ethereum, buying Litecoin. Should have stuck to my guns, but I thought Litecoin was going to have a bit of a boost up and take out some new tops in Bitcoin, or at least rise against its Bitcoin value to increase our Bitcoin position. Ethereum has shown to be the gold in this period at the moment. It is holding its ground above that sort of $2,000-ish level, between the $2,000 and the $2,500. It is climbing slower, but it's climbing. It's not having these 40-50% corrections like we've seen with a lot of cryptos in the top 10, top 20, especially like Cardano dropped from $1.50 to 90 or 89 cents. That's a pretty sizable drop from one of our major cryptocurrencies, and we hold our biggest position is in Cardano, so that has affected the portfolio. And so at least you guys can see, maybe learn from it going forward. If you want a simple, easy to use portfolio like I do with my super fund, with my retirement fund for the US guys, you can look at that on Instagram. I post about that. I just hold Bitcoin and Ethereum. It's the easiest thing to do. Just hold those two, and generally you're not going to get massive drawdowns. Buy the bottom, so stick around with the market if you are getting a little bit worried and you're saying, screw this thing, I'm going to come back later, when the market goes to all-time highs again. Dumbest thing to do. Stay with the market, watch the lows come in, start to buy the lows, and then you'll see better gains from that point rather than buying through all-time highs. Much, much easier. However, it's hard to do mentally because you're seeing prices go down. It's just the way it is. So if you want to get into it, got to stay with the market. Zilliqa, been one of those holds. I've been waiting for this to take off. Maybe we'll have a look at that in today's video. Litecoin, of course, the underperformer of the top 10. The graph, I still think this is going to take off at some point. It definitely has good fundamentals. Needs a bit more time. It did take off earlier, late last year, so it was one of the first movers. It might be the first mover again when we see the market return. And then DOT obviously had big gains. It has come off those false breakout highs of somewhere around that 40 or 45 bucks. We'll have a look at that. Link, at least that has been holding our portfolio pretty steady against the Bitcoin value. That's been quite good. Let's dive across to CRO. So CRO you can purchase on CoinSpot. So this is what I got here. CoinSpot, we've got a few thousand over here. This is what we're looking at in the previous video. I purchased $100. I was going to buy another 300. Lucky I didn't. I ran out of time and had to do other things, but I will buy another 100. Now that the market's gone down, let's buy $200 worth. Purchase, confirm, done. Okay, so now I've got CRO in my wallet, I've got $100 left. See what happens further down the track. Can always add a little bit more later. They're not huge purchases, so easy done. CRO on the chart, looking okay. We've bounced off our 38%, so it's a 61 from the top, 50%. We've got a day and a half left of a close above this level. That's definitely what we want to see. Around that 16-cent level, we're still safe. If we begin to break down, then unfortunately the next levels are around that 9 to 10 cents. I don't think we're going to get there. I can't say indefinitely that we won't get there, but at least the lows are getting a little higher. Let's throw it on a log. And should we continue to hold up these regions before we start taking off again, then that's obviously going to be the better sign. So CRO, not looking too bad. I wanted to talk about this one because I do speak about it a lot. I've obviously got the debit card. It's a project that I like long term. It's taking a lot longer than the rest of the projects. However, it did have a pretty big run through 2020 into the end of 2020. So they had quite a big run at that point, and then we just recently saw the last run of a couple of months when they were doing a $70 billion token burn. So we've seen the double top come in, top, tank to 150%. These are all sort of things that you can learn in the Investor Accelerator. Link to that in the description down below. 12-month membership. This is basically following Gann rules here of a double top, and you can expect about 150% drop from the double top. That came in on Bitcoin as well, so that's pretty cool. All right, let's change this over to some of the biggest winners and losers, and the ones you guys have been asking about because I talk about them. TVK has been a loser. It's been down since we've been talking about it from around 70 or so cents, 70 or 80 cents. I got no problem, no shame in that. These are small cap cryptocurrencies and they are extremely volatile. TVK is now under $100 million market cap, $66 million market cap. Now, if you went in all in at that one video, you're the fool. Don't go all in on things. It's ridiculous. Now, if you can dollar cost average along the way, because this market has been falling, a $66 million market cap is pretty good for a project that has extremely high potential. And you can see the interview on the channel that I did with the CTO, Jawad. So very interesting. I'm going to do another interview with him next month as they begin to release their secret projects. Overall, I still hold my TVK. I'm going to keep buying more. 30 cents, 66 million. If this thing goes to 1 or 2 billion, that's a solid 20, 30x now, rather than buying it at 100, all of it at 150 or 180 million. So overall, I'm pretty happy that the market is cooling off, especially the NFT space. And we know a lot of the NFTs are cooling off. Let's go down to some of the bigger winners, and Sol is one of those. This has just been going up and up and up. Now, I am concerned if this happens to be a current top, but it just keeps going. And it's kind of at that point where we don't want to miss out. We don't want to miss out now that it just keeps going. And it is climbing against Ethereum value while Ethereum is up. So it is a very strong player. Now I'm going to switch this back and look at Sol versus USD. $35, high volume at these tops. It's a tough one. I'm not saying to buy or sell at this point, but it's definitely one to keep on the radar. And I hope there are lower prices, but at the same time, I don't want to see my investment fall too far. But at the end of the day, this has just skyrocketed out of the gates, and it has been going up during the Bitcoin dump. This was the dump on Sunday, on the 18th, and it's just been going up and up and up. It's incredible. So definitely one on the list there. The next that we're going to have a look at, let's have a look at Sushi. Sushi has been going down. This has been a good project, and it's on the way down, so it could be a good accumulation level if we find a nice support. So all I'm just going to do is quickly throw in a support resistance. Here's our next zone of around $7 bucks. I'm going to throw an alert underneath these lows at around 10 or just under $10, because currently we are starting to track back down after bouncing off the 50% level. So that's what I'm talking about. Use these 50%. They're fantastic. Really, really good to use. Let's look at Uni. We've looked at Sol as well. So at 4, this is our 5th one here. Uni, it's holding ground up here. This was the dump. Then we had another peak on high volume. I am willing to say that this is going to fall probably at least back to the 50% level, around $20. Reason being, lower top, high volume, shooting star. Let's look at it on candles. See that? Huge wick. Usually you don't use them in the middle of a chart, but this is extreme volume. It's one of the highest volume days in its history of being in these high price ranges. So that is very telling for me. So Uni, it's probably, well, it's not something that I'm buying now on these dips. I would wait for this to fall further, but I obviously like Uni long term. It's one of my major holds long term. Let's look at XRP, $1.11, dump, big dump. We came back to a support level. If this continues to drop, then obviously our next support's around that 65 to 70 cent level. I could easily see that happening, especially for XRP. It does these massive moves and then retraces like 95%. It's crazy. 70%, 80%, 90%. So if you are an XRP purchaser, notice that. Look at this 50% level. I'll go into a macro time frame. This stuff is amazing. Top to major low, major all-time high to major bear market low. 50% hit, destroyed. It got rejected really hard at 50% because like these work in a flip, if you're looking at it from a bullish point of view, they also work from a bearish point of view. And we're going to invert the scale. So you can see here, this is the all-time high, this is the all-time low. We've flipped the chart, bounced off the 50%, and now it looks like we're heading back to the 66 cent level. Crazy stuff. This is all we need when we are doing long-term investing. Let's flip it back. A nice fib, an understanding of swings, an understanding of macro and smaller time frames, and volume, bar patterns. Easy stuff. Uni, XRP I'm not buying. Sol looks good, but I'm not buying. TVK, buying a little bit because of the dumps. CRO, buying a little bit because I see that has dumped. All right, so I've got my 5, call it top 5 for the video title. YFI, USD, it's climbing new all-time highs, but again, we've seen a reversal here. So this isn't as strong, and maybe we're going to see a little bit of a sideways and up again. Rejection, it's a bit choppy and messy. It's very hard to tell on YFI plus YFI BTC. YFI BTC looks a lot better. We're in a trading range. Hopefully we break out of the 1 Bitcoin zone and then start to increase our Bitcoin exponentially. That's the idea here with YFI. It's in a nice accumulation zone, which leads me to think that there is some potential for DeFi taking off first. I'm yet to make a clear decision on that, but when we come back into the bull strength of the market, then maybe the DeFi stuff will run first, just like it ran in around June, July into August. So that could be what takes off first. We wait and see. We wait and see. Let's look at Zilliqa because that was on our portfolio. Look at that. It dumped to 11 or 12 cents, now at 15. That, I wanted to say healthy because it's a nice, quick, sharp dump. There's not much volume in it, so that kind of concerns me. You know, this has been one that I've been talking about a lot, and I've got it in my portfolio. I've got it in our demo portfolio. So I've taken a hit on this one. That's part of the market. You can't win all of them. And the people that tell you they're winning all of them, full of shit. Absolutely full of shit. Because even the best traders in the world don't get things 100%. That's if you're in a bear market in cryptocurrency, in a bull market in crypto, everyone can pick everything until they don't. And at these times, they're probably going to keep their mouths quiet. So we are now at our top major low. It crashed to our 50% zone. And so now we pull this back to this zone. Again, that's below that. And now I'm just going to bring it back to one of the major ones back here. And this is how I use the tool. Yep, there's my low. There's my 50%. We are now above that. So look, I think Zilliqa is going to have a hard time, unfortunately, at the moment. This is not one of the better picks. Ethereum, at the end of the day, one of the better ones every time. That's why I always talk about Ethereum, even though it's trending so slowly. Look, if it drops to 400, then shit, everything's over. But for now, Zilliqa doesn't look so good. Let's look at ZilBTC. Look, ZilBTC is fine. It's still in its accumulation zone that it continues to make higher lows. So overall, I haven't lost any of my Bitcoin value, but Bitcoin has lost value against the USD, which means Zil has now lost USD value. So overall, I'm okay. I'm okay with this because my Bitcoin has held up. If I saw this tank, that means I've lost USD and Bitcoin, and that sucks, especially in a bull market. Zen, something I talk about regularly, but not so regularly, because no one talks about it. So I guess no one wants to hear about it. But this has done 100% of this range. Boom. 100% again. Oh, it's just peaked past 100 but closed under it. So I think I'm going to sell off another chunk of this. But this is something I've been holding since the previous bull market and bought more during these lows at around $10, even though the low was around 3. So my average position was a lot lower. I'm thinking of selling off a chunk of this. I don't know how much further it's going to go. However, I'm going to do an interview with Rob, the founder, CEO of Horizon, sometime next week or the week after, and get that out on the channel soon so you guys can know more about Horizon. Let's look at some of the other big names that you guys love before we wrap up. Vet, look at that. Huge spike up and down. Not a good sign. Yeah, I'm not buying any more Vet at this point. I haven't bought any Vet, I should say, initially, so it wasn't a very hard one for me to stay out of. But I definitely would like to see some sort of accumulation after this point. So what I'm going to do, bring it to the top. There's my 50% zone at 14 cents. I can say this without any emotion because I'm not in this market. And I would rather see it come down so I could buy some lower because I know it has good potential because everyone talks about it. What about Vet? What about Vet? It's a few cents. Can it go to $1? Yada, yada, yada. It's got a very good narrative in that sense. So for Vet, look, 14 cents. I don't think it's going to hold up here, especially after such a big spike. We've got a big volume low here, so we might get a suckers rally up to 22 to 25 cents, and hopefully that it weighs on a few things. Remember, Bitcoin value, because this is the Bitcoin, this is the USD value. If Bitcoin continues to go up against the USD, this stuff will start to track up again, but possibly maybe lose a bit of its Bitcoin value. So you've got to keep that in mind. This might slip all the way to 200 sats from 400 sats, so you lose half your Bitcoin value, but you're still up on your USD. Should things continue to stay quiet for the next few months, few weeks, then I could see this probably coming back to test 14 cents again and possibly lower. I'm not going to throw a number here, but you guys can sort of see support and resistance levels by now, I hope. Let's go for one more just to make it 10. I had Theta. Theta's a big one. All right, so I checked this out on the channel before, on a previous video today. This has dumped from its fake breakout and it's hit that $7 area. So I think Theta, if it doesn't hold up above this zone, then we're probably looking for a $4 Theta. I'm happy to call a $4 Theta because I would love to buy a $4 Theta. So that's pretty much my bias here with the Theta USD, Theta BTC. Let's bring this to the top and find ourselves a 50%. Oh, look at that. It bounced off the 50% again. Guys, if you're not seeing this, you're not using this tool, please do. If you don't know why you're using the tool, this just gives you a price projection. You can put this tool up here when the top comes in. You could have put it in someday on the 29th, throw this tool up here, connect it to the low. Now you're tracking for a low. And if you see a top forming, you could be fooled, oh, you put it up this top. Okay, we didn't get a 50% drop and we started climbing again. Market's on. Okay, buying into the top. That's how I'm using it. See this low back here? Market falls into the 50, into the 61%, and then starts to recover and starts to use these levels as bases. It's just forming higher lows, breaks out. All right, market is on. Right, now that we've seen this come in, lower tops, fake out, more lows, we're at 50%. Now, if this pattern repeats over here on a bigger frame, then we can expect a breakout and the market's on again. That's how I'm using the tool. And I use the 50% as a buy level. It's a pretty good buy zone because we're pretty close to these levels down here anyway, that 12 or 10,000 Satoshis. But it's safe in case the market continues to accumulate higher and goes higher. So you just have to weigh up, am I willing to forego, another 20 or 30%, that's even almost 40% down here. However, you're not buying it at the tops. You're 40% off that top. And if you happen to wait, sure, you get a much bigger discount, but you just don't know whether this is going to be the low and then start to make its way back. So that's what I use the 50% for. And even if you don't want to use it to buy, it's a fantastic tool to let you know that a bounce has come in and that we can wait to see what's going to happen next, because it's a great tool to measure the market. I'm pretty sure that's 10 in there, guys. If it's not, I'm sure you'll let me know in the comments, especially for the people who only read the headlines and the titles. Thank you very much for your attention in today's video. I hope you learned something from this. The cryptocurrency market, in summary here, I think we may see a few weeks to a few months. I don't want to scare people with a few months just yet, but I'm probably leaning more towards a few months if we don't see Bitcoin solidly recover from this point. That's okay. It's good to be in a longer bear market within a major bull market, because we should see some much bigger prices on Bitcoin and the overall market. As the market falls, we get to buy in cheaper and sell out closer to the tops. So even if we buy in lower, our risk is reduced, because at least my view is we're in a major overall bull market, but this could take months. Just look back at 2019 if you want to do some research on that yourself. So that's a good place to start to understand timeframes. That's my summary of cryptocurrency. No, I don't think there's going to be another altcoin season in the month of April. Maybe not even May, especially after that top. Maybe not even June. Probably the summer, people are going to go and do their thing, wait to see what happens. That's early days. Anything can change, but we have been going up for over 6 months, so think about that as well. If you want to trade, SwiftX, CoinSpot down below for this video. All right, guys, thank you very much. Stick around on my channel or just in your investments. Don't leave if you want to make money. Subscribe, like, all the things down below. It goes a long way to helping out the channel. Free newsletter down below. Drop your email address there. Once every 2 weeks, you'll learn about cryptocurrencies and investing, all for free. Drop your email address down there. Subscribe to the Investor Accelerator if you want to stay in touch and learn how to do this during the quiet period, so you're not stressing out with the news going left, right, and center, not knowing what the hell to do. The Investor Accelerator, link to that is in the description down below. We'll see you over there in the 12-month membership group. But until next time, have more fun to get more done.